by the power of Grayskull.
I made up money.
That's a big Twinkie.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Cereal Box Prize Podcast, the podcast that serves you 3 scoops of pop culture. And we are back, and I'm back with my co-host, the man with the master plan, the ghost with the most, the man that's rocking it all the time, my partner, Aaron Schmelzer. Aaron, what is going on? Because it is 2021.
It is 2021, and thank you for that introduction. I like that. No, everything's good. Other than it's cold up here in the north this week. So I think the last time we talked, we were talking about snow, and we're still talking about snow, and it's like 4 degrees outside right now. So I'm cold.
Bro, I went outside today and it was like 8 degrees this morning. It felt like, what's that movie, The Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I felt like Sub-Zero was about to freeze me outside as I stepped outside. That's how cold it was. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to be cold tomorrow too, and then get some snow on Monday or Tuesday. But God, cold man. Up here, but the store shelves are still empty and the toys are still hot. So.
Oh, man, we have so much stuff to talk about because for the listeners, 2 weeks ago, there wasn't an episode because I had to do a gig so that I could get some money to buy some toys from our buddy Dave at his toy shop. And man, did I go in. Let's talk about our toy pickups from when we went to our good old buddy Dave's toy shop, man. Aaron, I know you went all in too as well.
Yeah. And
first of all, let me say thank you, sir. I shall knight thee as the greatest knight of toy pickers ever, because you found me the Neca Wrap of Cran figure. So thank you so much, man. And you also found me during the week the Baxter and Splinter 2-pack. So thank you again, man.
Yeah, we were just talking about this before the show. I'm finding all the stuff for you, but nothing for me. But no, I found a few things. But yeah, Dave's store was definitely a breath of fresh air. It was good to see you in person because I think that's the first time that we've seen each other since the flea market ended. Or since we stopped going in about September. Yeah. Ish. And then it was good to see Dave and his wife and and Mike. So it was good to see everybody. We were safe. We were socially distant, and I met your brother for the first time. So, yep. That was cool, and all wore our masks. But no, we don't, at least me, I haven't found retro, I think we talked about this in the last podcast. I hadn't found retro at like Savers or Goodwill or even on Facebook Marketplace recently in probably like 3 months. I found one little bag the other day that had like 2 mask figures and like the guy, like a Voltron figure and something else that I found at Savers, but it was only like a tiny little bag, no vehicles, no nothing. So I was just like, I'll take what I can get. But going to Dave's store, it was like, okay, we're going all in. I know you and I both talked about, we're gonna bring the money.
Oh yes, we did.
So yeah,
I felt. You know what's funny? Speaking about bringing the money, I felt like Scrooge McDuck. I just jumped into my pile of coins and just like brought everything with me, man.
Yeah. So it was good. I got there probably about 20 minutes before you did, but it's funny because like even though you and I collect very similar things, our goals right now are so different. I'm very heavily in the Battle Beasts and the Brave Star, and I've kind of. It's not that I stopped collecting turtles, but like I put turtles on hold, for right now. Cause I feel like we talked about this before too. You could just go,
Yes. Oh,
so
yes.
So you just got to focus. So I got what, 4 more battle beasts. So I think I'm missing like 20. Like I want to say roughly 20 off my list. So
Nice.
And then got a couple complete, which was cool. And then they had a lot of small soldier stuff. So I picked up, about 4 more small soldiers figures, and that was like the big purchase. Oh, I got the Die Ruger fists. He put those aside for me. So one clipped in perfectly, and the other one, because it was broken, it just kind of hangs there. But still, like, to find those little fists, man, and I gave you those pieces. I don't know if you started researching that at all.
Oh, I'm already gonna get the Die Ruger. For those listening, if you don't know who Die Ruger is the vehicle Voltron. And he is amazing when he's completed together, man. That's an awesome looking figure, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, I think in the Voltron line and in the cartoon animated series, there was the vehicle Voltron, there was the Gold Lion Voltron. Wasn't there one more? I think there was 3 of them. There was 3 Die Ruggers. It was Gold Lion, vehicle, and there was one more. There's 3 of them. My mind is blank right now of what the third Voltron is.
No, I think so funny story about that one. So it kind of a weird chain of events, but when I was a kid, I didn't have the whole thing of the Die Ruger. I had like 4 pieces. I had a piece of the leg, a piece of the thigh, and I think I had one of the cars and like another random piece. I think the chest piece, like the jet. But I played with the part of the leg. It looks like I don't know how to describe it. It's blue. It's got a little white brick that pops out. I gave you one of them, and it's got like a head on the front that folds up that clips into the leg. Anyways, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, that was like my favorite toy because it had the where if you like revved it on the floor, it builds up. It had that traction. And so like the traction would go. And so like I played with that piece for years. That was like one of my favorite toys, even though it was only a piece of the Die Ruger. Fast forward to about my dad was up. So it was probably 2 years ago at the flea market when my dad came. I found a bag of parts at the flea market for the Die Ruger. And that part was in it. And I was like, oh my God, this is what it went to. I didn't know what that piece went to because I'd never found it. I'd never researched it.
Nice.
And then I was like, okay, I got to complete this thing now. So over the past year, I've been trying to, that's kind of one of my eBay saved listings is like the Die Ruger fist because that's the last piece that I need. It's weird though because that one never came with a weapon.
Okay.
So I guess there's like you can buy a weapon that goes in the fists.
Right.
Like there's like somebody make them. But if you look at the package, its main weapon was those firing fists. Like the fists were like kind of like that, And so I was like, oh, okay. Because every other Voltron that's come out has had the big swords or the shield.
Blazing sword.
Yeah. So like that one, I was like, oh man, do I need to find the damn sword for this thing too? But I researched it when I sent you the pictures for your research. I was like, oh, there's no weapon, when it came in that, because you could either buy it in 3 boxes. It was like the air pack, the land pack, and the sea pack of the vehicle Voltron, or you could get it in that big box.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you can get them in separate boxes, like the vehicle, the C-Pack. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like the helicopters and like the chest plate, the arms, those would have came in the air pack, and in the helmet, I think, because it kind of looks like a jet. And then the land pack was the arms with the fist, the 2 thighs, and it's cool because you could actually combine those into 3 separate vehicle kind of components as well.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Man, Die Ruger, I love Voltron, man. It's funny, man. I was listening to a YouTube channel actually, and Retro Blasting, and the guy that runs the channel with his wife, man. It's a very informative channel, and they were going over the Voltron series. And I guess like the animated Japanese Voltron, the original Voltron Japanese series,
Yeah.
it's very heavily adult oriented, and there's a lot of violence in it. But I guess like when it was bought from Japan to come to the US, a lot of things were taken out from it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the complete opposite. So now like I want to see the original Japanese version, because I guess there's like a scene in the first episode where like there's all these human slaves and like they're like chopping their bodies, and like you would not see that in the cartoon kid version of the US. So
Yeah.
you know, it's very interesting, man. Like,
Well, our culture in the United States, a lot of things have to be kind of edited and taken out. That you know, I mean, look at you know, the example that's coming to mind is like even Pokemon. You know, there was a scene where like Misty was like in a waterfall or something, and it was just a silhouette of her. You know, that got taken out. I think there was a Japanese card that they made, and it was supposed to be like Misty's special power or whatever. And like that card was produced in Japan, but when they made the US set of that set, it was taken out, you know. And a lot of things like that. Like if you watch Japanese animes, the subtitles versus the English dubs, the subtitles are usually like "fuck you," you know, like this and that.
yeah.
And then the English sub is something very PG, you know, like
Right.
"damn you" or something. Like it's very different. And so like a lot of purists, like, you know, they want to watch the Japanese anime in Japanese with English subtitles because the translation and the dubbing does not do it justice for the American culture.
Oh wow, that makes sense. Yeah, man. Like it's weird. I'm very interested in like watching the original Voltron Japanese version, but man, we just went into a Voltron rabbit hole right now. But yeah, man. Yeah, you picked up a lot of great things at Dave's store with the toy pickups, and like I know me and you picked up some of those Nintendo Power magazines.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh my God, Aaron. All right. If you're listening right now and you're in your 20s and you've never heard of Nintendo Power Magazine. So growing up, you know, we had no internet. It wasn't like it is now when we grew up with the NES. But I'm flipping through the Nintendo Power Magazine and I get into this one page. There we go. It's Mario Kart. For those listening, Aaron's just showing me one of the Nintendo Power Magazine's covers with Bowser on it. But yeah, so I'm flipping through the magazine and like I get to this ad, and it's the Nintendo hotline where you can call and speak to a Nintendo wizard so that they can help you get through whatever level you're stuck on. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, wow, we've come this far in video gaming where back in the days, it was 50 cents per minute. You can talk to somebody and just be like, yeah, hi, I'm playing Metroid and I'm stuck in like level 2. I'm trying to get the power up. Do you know where it is? Yeah, you're gonna have to go through like the top stairs and make a left, and once you beat the rag door down the, and I'm just like, man, somebody got paid to like do that back in the days. Like, can you imagine if like now playing PlayStation, like you would have to call somebody, like, hey man, you're calling the PlayStation hotline. How can I help you, bro?
I thought that was the coolest thing. We talked about this, I think, one of our first podcasts or maybe second. There was that documentary, I think it was on Netflix. It was all about like the history of video games, and that they showed those guys with like they got some special jacket, like I'm a Nintendo Power, superstar or whatever it was. And
Right.
I guess they like when he wore that jacket out, like kids would approach him in like the arcades and stuff and be like, how do you beat this level? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, man, that had to have been the coolest freaking job. And the movie The Wizard, where they first debuted Super Mario 3, they actually call that helpline in the hotel. And it was like a plug, and it was like, okay, in Ninja Gaiden, you know, we got to beat this, because they didn't know what game they were going to be playing in the final. So like that was one of like the coolest things. I always wanted to call it as a kid, but I was afraid like my mom would be like, you just spent how much money on like, you know, figuring out how to beat a video game?
Yeah, man, the Wizard was just like a Nintendo commercial. It was an hour and 30-minute Nintendo commercial, man.
Yeah,
but
the Power Glove.
Oh man, that movie was amazing, man.
Thing's a piece of shit. They didn't show you that Power Glove, like his what I forgot the guy. I want to say Zach, but I know that's wrong. I think that was the other kid's name. But like the main protagonist in the movie, he had the Power Glove. And they don't show you in the movie that you had to have this sensor. It was 3 sensor bars to go on your TV, like, but they were like these blocks, and you had to put those on your TV so that you could use the Power Glove to like move around. And the buttons were programmable, but like you would do this and it wouldn't work, or you know, you would move it, or if you scratch your face, your character would go nuts. Like it was a great like plug for that. And it was cool looking, but like, man, it was like one of the worst peripherals. Like the Angry Video Game Nerd did a great like review on it and was like, this is the worst thing ever to buy.
Yeah, that is hilarious, man. It's funny, going back to like what you were saying, like some of those Nintendo Wizard guys, like they will have like these jackets like, oh yeah, I won like Super Mario Brothers 3 with the highest score. Like, can you imagine like being that guy in 1990? Like, that guy must have got a lot of girls. Like, he's just wearing his jacket. He's coming out of work. And all the girls are like, oh, my God, look at him. He's a Nintendo Wizard.
I don't know if he got a lot of girls, but, like, I'm sure some of the guys probably were like, oh, that's cool. I don't think video games were that big back then. But, you know, I think... I definitely think the arcades were probably a good place to meet girls, where there's no more arcades anymore. I guess you can consider Dave and Buster's, or, you know, like those types of places, you know, arcades. But, you know, like we used to go to a mall and there would be an arcade, you know, and you could hang out in an arcade and you'd put your quarter down and you'd be next in line to play what other game. But no, I mean, man, but talking about like Blast from the Past, the cool thing about these, and the reason that I had it kind of like here, well, I'm showing, we're audio, I'm showing this stuff, is I had the Nintendo Powers, is that my son got into them. So like, he's big into Mario Kart anyway, so like I just kind of left him on the table just to see what he would do, and he started flipping through them, and he started like really looking at them, and he was looking at the pictures, and he was like, oh, Dad, this is how you beat this level. You know, this is how you get this secret, you know? And I was telling him, because like he's used to Mario Kart that we have today. He's not used to Super Nintendo Mario Kart, which is vastly different and a hell of a lot harder. And so he goes, oh, this is Mario Kart. And I was like, yeah. So inside that issue, they had all the levels. All the levels look the same. They're just round, you know, like you might have Bowser's Castle. It's a loop, you know, it's 4 left turns with maybe a couple obstacles here and there. There's no real, you know, zigzags. There's no, you know, going figure eights. It's all circles. And so it's incredible to see kind of how far we've come, but he's looking at it and he's like, oh, there's the shortcut, you know? And I was like, yeah, you're right. That is where the shortcut is when in this circular level.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's funny because like I picked up like three of them from Dave's store, 3 Nintendo Powers, and one of them had Battletoads in the cover. And for those that never played Battletoads on NES, it's a pretty tough game, man. But what I loved about Nintendo Power is that when you open up those pages and it was just a map, it just gave you like a giant map, and it gave you like how to beat the Speed Racer level on Battletoads, and like how to get to this level, and it's like a whole map. And I'm like, wow, like as a kid back then, we had to follow this like an actual map, like if we're going on an adventure, like you know. And nowadays you can just go on YouTube and watch like a gameplay thing and just get through something, and like, you know, just having that like in your hand, it's just awesome, because we're so used to now just going online and looking at these gameplays. But like, to have an actual map. Like, do you remember that back in the days? Like codes and like maps. Like you'll be in like 6th grade, and you're like, man, some kid's gonna have the code to get Reptile in Mortal Kombat here.
Yeah.
Okay, who has the codes? I need some codes.
Yeah.
Who has the blood code for Sega Genesis Mortal Kombat?
Oh,
like
man.
codes was such a big thing back then, man. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I used to go online and just look up codes all the time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like, but I remember in the back of the manuals, there was a place that you could write in, your codes, or your passwords or whatever. Like in a lot of the Super Nintendo games, because, kids today, again, auto save or, backup save, or you could save your game every 5 seconds. The original Nintendo, you had to leave your Nintendo on, with most games, or later on they developed like a password system where if you got to a certain level, they would give you a password and then you could continue from that point, kind of. I think one of the first, if not, it probably wasn't the first, but like, at least in my mind, was Punch Out. Like, because after every 3 levels you beat, it would give you a code and show that little cutscene of, little Mac running, and they'd be like, okay, here's your code to go to the next level, the next set of 3 bouts. But
that's awesome. Yeah, man. Hey, Aaron, what about what's the number 1 Nintendo code that everybody remembers?
The Konami code.
Okay, let me see if I remember it. Is it up, down, left, right, BA?
It's I think you're there. I think it was BA select start.
Okay.
BA select start, and then like, because everybody had to use that on Contra.
Right.
Because Contra was a beast, and I think that gave you like 99 lives or something like that.
You know what's crazy? I can't believe that I can still remember a code from like 35 years ago, but I can't remember my parents' freaking home number.
Well, it's that memory, It's that like, hey, you're probably still going to use that code at some point in your life. You know what I mean?
Like when you have to fill out like an application or waiver form, and it tells you, can you please put in an emergency contact number? Yeah. Like me, I'm like, I can't remember my parents' number, but hey, here's the Contra code. Up, down, left. Here's the Contra code for you. But yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Like, you got some great pickups from Dave. I ended up picking up the TMNT vintage sewer playset, and oh man, was I so happy to get that in my hand.
But that was funny. That like, I have to tell a little story about that. If like, I was like, oh yeah, Steve's looking for the playset, and like, he didn't have it out. He's like, oh, I got one of those, and he goes in his little back room and he pulls out this box and he's like, here you go, Steve. And Steve's like, okay, I guess I'm buying this.
Yeah, I didn't even know that Dave had one till you said it, Aaron. Like,
no, I didn't know. He had that one in the box like last year, and I knew he had that one, but that one was really expensive because it was in the box. But then I didn't know what he picked up from that pickup, and I was like, oh yeah, Steve's looking for this, and Dave's like, oh yeah, let me just pull it out of my magic room.
Listen, that blew me away seeing that, because believe it or not, it's only missing 2 pieces. Actually, 3. It's missing the elevator.
Yeah.
2 pieces from the elevator. It's missing the little telescope, yellow telescope. Yeah. And it's missing the sewer lid. Other than that, the whole thing is complete. So for the price that I got it for, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I ended up picking Anthrax, that ant, with all his accessories. I got the I think it's needle nose, like that mosquito giant riding thing, man. Yeah. Oh man, that's what I love about Turtles, man. Like, the thing about Turtles, and Aaron, you and me know, the line goes from like 1987 to like freaking 1997. It's such a big line, man. But like, it's just obscure, and the little minor details that you see on some of these weird like figures, like it's just crazy. So I picked up the sewer playset, some Turtles. You gave me some of the Diarugger parts for the Voltron, some Nintendo Power, man. Like, and I got the NECA stuff from you, the Turtle NECA stuff. I picked up the Metalhead. It was a good haul, and I haven't had a haul like that since the flea market, man.
I know.
That's the biggest toy haul I had in the beginning of this year. Really haven't found anything. If it's not for you, finding me some of this NECA stuff at Target, man, like I can't find. And these G.I. Joe Classified series, don't even get me started on those, man, because those things are still hot.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we were talking about that before the podcast. You can't find them. You can't find them. I've been trying to go, 2, 3, 4 times a week, when I can. But I think I had a conversation with my wife. I said, it's not worth it. Trying to find them and the stress and the hassle and, whatever. If I go in there and they're there, great. But I can't surround my whole entire, block off a portion of my schedule and try to, hunt these damn things down. It's great that the toy community is so popular,
Right.
I think that's really cool because 10, 15 years ago, people collecting toys were, oh, you're such a nerd, or it's become more mainstream to collect
Yeah.
toys, but, now it's just like, you still walk into the stores and they're empty. The aisles are empty. And I see this post quite a bit in a couple of the groups I'm in. It's like, why is it that every other store or shelf in the store is stocked now? The toilet paper stocked, the you can go and buy Lysol wipes, that's stocked, but the toy aisle looks decimated. Every
Yes.
store you go into,
Every store.
decimated.
Every store. And it's funny, Aaron, that you say that because it's like even when I look up like some Instagram toy, pages or even like YouTube channel, you see people doing videos and taking pictures of some of these aisles, and they're just empty.
Mhm.
And it's funny because it's like when COVID hit, it was like get the toilet paper, get the Lysol wipes. Everybody's running. Now it's just like you said. Oh, the food aisle's fully stocked. We got a bunch of toilet paper, but no classified G.I. Joe series.
It's nuts. I will say the other day, the Target by my house has been surprising me. I mean, I haven't found the classifieds yet, but I found the Ectotron, the new release of it, because I wasn't able to get the original release from GameStop last year. I missed that one, and I couldn't find it, and I was kind of bummed. I was like, but I didn't know that they re-released it. That was kind of like happenstance. They had 4 of them. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. They were $60 a pop, that's retail, but like it came with the comic and it came with the 2 ghosts, which I don't know if the original release came with the ghosts.
Yeah, I have the original one that I ordered from GameStop last year. It was $52 and it did not come with a comic. I ended up buying the comic separate, the first issue to that.
Yeah.
But it came with Slimer. This one, it's already transformed in the package.
Yeah.
And it comes with a comic and it comes with the new Ghost Muncher from Afterlife.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the only difference. It's transformed and it comes with Muncher in the comic. So
yeah. So
I thought $60, yeah, I can see why it's $60 because it was 52. A comic is like $4. Then you're paying for Muncher. So
right. I thought it was cool though. I mean, the way that it's displayed, it's already transformed, and it's got the picture of the Ecto one on the front. And the back is more like it's got the file card, like a Transformers file card, So I thought that was cool. So I found that, and then I ended up finding the Mando Black Series figure.
Nice.
So the Mando with the child.
That's
so
a hard one too to find. That's a
I was like, it was just right there on the shelf, and I was like, okay. And tonight when I went, because I had to go pick up some other stuff, like, some stuff for the house, but you always got to check the toy aisle when you go,
Oh, yeah, that's priority.
They had a couple Black Series they had from Mandalorian, and I was like, okay, like, so is this going to be a thing now? Am I going to start finding these, in the wild again? But I don't know. I have my hopes up, but I don't want to get my hopes up because, like I said, you still walk in the toy aisles and they are just decimated.
It's so funny how you say like when you're running errands and you're like, you know what, I gotta go to Target or Walmart. I gotta pick up some food or some things for the house. You know? And you get to the register and it's like cereal, milk, bread, cheese, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Ghostbusters TMNT.
So you hit the nail on the head. So the other night I was at Target and I found the Krang for Dave and the NECA 2-pack for you, right? So I literally bought for myself milk, a gallon of milk, and one other thing. But it was like it should have been $4, right? Like maybe $6, whatever the second item was. I can't remember what this. Oh, Pam, like cooking spray.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it was like $6. Cash register total was like $97. And I was like, because the 2-pack was like 52, and I think the Krang was like 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell? I went to this store for 2 items that cost less than $10, and 2 toys cost $90.
All right, kids, dinner's ready. Dad, what are we eating? We're eating some NECA turtle.
You're drinking milk, kid. That's it. That's your dinner.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. But yeah, man, that was awesome to see Dave, see Sarah, see their daughter. Like, it was awesome to just spend time with everybody and pick up some of those toys, man. And, just spending time together, because we were like, in the wintertime, it's hard, man, but during the summertime, we see each other all the time because, the flea market. So, but it was definitely great to get together. But you actually ended up, and I want to talk about this because I didn't know about this book, and it's called Rat Plastic, and it's about, it's 400 pages. It's $65 to order on ratplastic.com, and it's a pretty much collector's guide to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, but it's like, it just goes from like 87 to 97. Like, that's it. Like, it doesn't go past that. But I am definitely going to get this book, man, because, like, I don't know, like, it's awesome because it's not just about the toys. It's also like how they sculpted them, the designing, the sketches. There's a lot to this book, man. So that was cool, Aaron, that you shared that, man.
Yeah, I somebody posted it on one of the forums, and I immediately like freaked out. I was like, okay, this is cool, and it's not like you can go on Amazon or, it's an independent guy publishing it. And I'm guessing he's probably printing them or has an agreement to kind of print them as the orders come in. Right. And that's why it's a hefty price tag. But, it's hardcover. It looks amazing. It looks big. I mean, yeah. I don't know dimensions, but from the pictures that I've seen, it looks almost like maybe 14-inch by 12-inch. It looks pretty big for a hardcover book. And then the pictures are what, and the history really intrigued me, because I guess somebody posted a picture today, I don't know, in the Yes Have Some group on Facebook, that I guess they had photos of kind of like the unreleased, and he's like, I don't want to spoil this for you guys because I want you to enjoy it, but like, these photos are crazy. Like, I guess they had like an E.T. line like mashup with Ninja Turtles. There was a Star Wars mashup with Ninja Turtles. There was all these mashups that they were going to do that I guess either ended up getting sideboarded or just not greenlit, because there was just you had Star Trek Turtles, you had Apollo 13 Turtles, you had if there was something popular in the news, you had the Olympic Turtles, you had all these different kind of sets. So like, I was really shocked. The E.T. turtle looked amazing because it had the long neck. And
there was an E.T. turtle?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Right. I need to look this thing up right now because I'm in front of my computer.
So
I did not know there was an E.T. turtle. I mean, look, we all know this. There's so many Ninja Turtles. There's a clown turtle. There's a Donatello goes camping. Michelangelo gets a divorce. Like, there's so many turtles, man. Like, the turtle line is just extensive, but I did not know there was an E.T. turtle.
Yeah, so they had a picture of it, and I guess I'm trying to find it real quick myself so I could just show it to you. But it looked crazy, and I was like, was that really an idea, or was that some kind of like concept art that was just drawn? But just the kind of the concept of it was fantastic, and I was like, man, how many more of these unreleased, kind of like prototype things are still out there or could be out there that maybe somebody thinks is like oh yeah, somebody just made that in a basement, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm on the internet right now, and
Yeah.
for some reason, vintage turtles right now are the hot thing. I've seen the prices on turtle figures skyrocket.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like a Donatello with no weapons is going for like $10. Like turtle figures have skyrocketed in prices. Vintage turtle figures.
Yeah.
They're like one of the hottest things right now to collect. So it's cool that you sent that book, Aaron, because it's like for me, we all know turtles is such an extensive line, and to collect everything for it is it's going down a rabbit hole, man. And then you have like, you know, Hotspot, which is like $1,000 figure. You know, then you have the undercover turtles.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
things go for like, you know, you got the sewer hero turtles. Those things are up there, and then you got the Universal Monster Turtles. Like it's an extensive line, and there's a YouTube channel called Not Another Retro channel that I watch, and he's a big turtle collector. And the other night I'm watching it, and he looks at the camera and tells the viewers like he's gonna collect the whole line from 87 to 97, and I'm like, wow, that is a big task to take.
It is, but I you know, but see, like for me, you have to have deep pockets.
Yes.
I mean, like, now, you know, if you're gonna do the whole line and all the accessories, because like you got to remember, each turtle figure came with like sometimes 7, 8, 9 accessories.
Right.
You know, most of them came with about 4 or 5. You know, but like, I mean, like if you're talking about Scratch, you know, I've seen individual accessories for Scratch go for like $200 to $300. You know, just an accessory. You know, and so like you want to talk about collecting the whole line, it's doable, but you better have some deep pockets.
Yeah, man, I love turtles, but I don't know if I love them that much. I'm not trying to be homeless. I need to eat too and pay my bills, you know? So
Yeah.
I love turtles, but yeah, man. But man, Aaron, a lot of movie news. We got a lot of movie news to talk about, man. First off, I just want to say that today I watched the original 1933 King Kong film. Aaron, have you seen the 1933 King Kong film?
I've seen parts of it. I cannot honestly say that I've sat and watched the whole 1933 film.
Man, that movie is action packed. Like, first of all, I'm looking at my show notes right now. William H. He's the guy that did all the puppeteering, like the stop motion effects for the film, and it was just amazing. Like the movie, yes, the effects were done by William H. O'Brien, man. And for those that have not seen the 1933 Kong film, the movie is only like an hour and 40 minutes, but it goes by so fast because, like, in the beginning, you have this director named Gundam and Willem Dunham, and he's trying to make this documentary film out in the forest, but he's trying to look for some heroine, some lady that he needs, and he finds her. Her name is Anne, and they go on this ship. They get to the island. When they're in the island, obviously it's Skull Island, and the island is filled with like a T-Rex and all these giant monsters. And once they get to the island, it doesn't stop. The movie's just action, action, action. It's just like T-Rex. A T-Rex fights Kong. Then Kong fights a snake. Kong fights a pterodactyl. But one of the craziest things that I thought for this time, for 1933, which is, I think it was pretty violent at the time, was Kong kills. Okay. For those that have not seen the movie, all right, spoiler alert. It's from 1933, all right, spoiler alert. So the girl gets captured by Kong. The people on the ship, which is the director, which is Dunham, a guy named John Driscoll, and there's like 6 other guys. They try to go to the island to go to save her. Now, there's a scene in the movie where there's like 4 or 5 guys on a tree branch, and the tree branch is wedged between like the top of 2 mountains. Kong comes, starts shaking the branch, and all you see is one by one, it's these little stop motion little figure guys, and as they're falling, they're just hitting these rocks. And as you're watching this, you're like, that is pretty gruesome for 1933, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, wow. Like, people in the movie theaters back then must have been shocked to see something like that in 1933.
Sure.
But the movie does not stop, man. And, you know, one of the coolest things is, like, at the end of the movie, like, they go to New York, and the director, William H. Dunham, it's like, come see Kong, the eighth wonder of the world. And then you see it's a couple, and as they're walking into the theater, the husband's talking to his wife, and he tells her, this better be great, because I just spent $20 on this ticket. And I'm like, that's right. $20 was a lot of money in 1933.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably like the equivalent of like $200 back in 1933.
It was probably more. It was probably more than that.
More. Yeah.
I mean, that was 1933. That was a lot of money. You know, I mean, $20 would get you a lot of things in 1933.
Yeah, and he said it to his wife, and I found that interesting that $20 in 1933 was a lot of money. But then, like, you know, Kong gets released because, like, the reporters taking pictures of him, and the flashes are hurting his eyes. So he just goes crazy berserk, starts climbing the Empire State Building. He has the girl in his hand. They get the firing planes. They're shooting at him. He ends up falling, and this to me is the best line of the film. So Kong falls, right? A police officer goes up to Denham. Now, Denham was the director who was directing the stuff on the island and who brought Kong back. And the police officer tells him, well, Denham, the airplanes got him. And then Denham looks at him and goes, no, it wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty that killed the beast. And I was like, whoa, that was awesome. And the movie just ended.
Yeah.
Like, look, I fell in love with this film so much that I'm buying a poster from it. I have to get a poster of Kong hanging from the Empire State Building.
Yeah. So,
like, if you have not seen it, it is streaming on HBO Max right now. And I'm also going to get to watch the first Godzilla, because they have all the Godzilla movies pretty much on HBO Max. So, yeah, man, I'm definitely happy that I saw the 33. I'm going to start watching the Godzilla films, because this segues into what we're going to talk about right now, Aaron.
Yeah.
And I think you know what we're going to talk about right now, since we're talking about movies, Godzilla, and Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron, did you see the Godzilla versus Kong trailer?
I did. I watched it with my son today, and it was fantastic.
Oh, my God. Okay, first of all, I cannot wait to see this. Now, it's going to be releasing on theaters and on HBO Max on the same day. Aaron, I'm pretty sure you're going to be watching it from home, you know, when it releases.
Yeah.
But, man, like, you know what's funny? I couldn't stop laughing, but, like, when they had Kong on the ship on the trailer and he was just, like, shackled, I'm like, isn't that like a Star Wars barge? The barge? He's on a barge. Like, look at him. He's on a barge, man. And like, on the trailer, it shows Kong shackled, and he's just looking at his hands. And he looks so sad. And in my mind, like, I'm like, Kong probably had plans. He probably had to go grocery shopping. And like, though he's tied up and shackled, like, what is going on here, man? Like he looks visually great.
Yes.
The effects look amazing. And then in the trailer, you see him on the barge, and he's looking into the water, and Godzilla just pops out.
Yeah.
And, like, Aaron, did you see that one shot in the trailer where he has, like, that hatchet? And I guess, like, the hatchet has Godzilla's, one of his back spines, like, one of his, like bones on it. So when he throws the fire breath, it's actually not hitting Kong. It's hitting, like, it's hitting
the hatchet. Yeah. Because when he's coming in, and that was the end of the trailer, when he's coming in with the hatchet, the you know, the atomic breath or whatever you want to call it, is it's almost being, because it's not going through the hatchet, it's almost being absorbed into the hatchet, and then he's coming down, and it looked like he was striking Godzilla with it. To me, it was a fantastic, well done trailer. I'm curious to see, with everything going on and production during the last year or so, how it's all going to pan out, because we know with Wonder Woman and that kind of debacle that was, how they're going to do it. I saw, this is, we'll go back. I'm going to go back, but in my mind, this is where my mind's going right now. So we were just watching a show tonight, and they showed a new episode, or the new trailer for the Tom and Jerry movie. And I told my wife, I said, that's smart to do kind of animated movies during this time, because you're getting a lot less human interaction, exposure with COVID, or money that's going to cost to test everybody, to keep everybody safe during this time, right? So, people are getting vaccinated now, hopefully the numbers start going down drastically the more people get vaccinated. But to produce an animated film, and in Kong versus, Godzilla, it is a very CGI heavy film. So sure, there's real world things, but most of it is going to most likely be CGI. So you can have people working from home, or working, in a office setting, in their own little cubicles, developing that movie without, spending the money on COVID protocols. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely, man.
I think the coolest scene in the trailer for me was when Kong gets pissed. He's on the boat, he's pissed, and he just roars into the water. And then, fast forward 2 seconds, all of a sudden it's cuts to a different scene where Godzilla's under the water and shoots that breath up and hits the boat, and Kong just jumps off and leaps. I was like, oh, that is I don't know. I called my son over, and I rewound it, and so we could watch it from the beginning. And I said, buddy, you're gonna like this, And he was like, oh, he's like, who's the bad guy? And I was like, I don't know, because you really don't know. I think they're gonna say Godzilla, is the bad monster, and Kong is, they captured Kong and brought him in. Another surprise was that I saw that they brought Millie Bobby Brown back.
Yes, I was surprised by that as well, that they brought her back. Let's rewind a little bit, because you just said something. You said Godzilla, being the bad guy, and what is going on there between those two guys. So, Aaron, I don't know if you've been reading what people are saying, because did you see Mecha Godzilla? He's in the trailer.
No, I didn't see him.
Okay, so in the trailer,
I gotta Google this.
Mecha Godzilla's in the trailer. So, if you watch the trailer, there's a part where you see people running through the city, and it's like an explosion, but it's Mecha Godzilla. It's his face. He's flying in the air, breaking the buildings. Mecha Godzilla's in the trailer.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. Okay.
So here's what's going on, because this is what everybody's saying. So now, mind you, I have not seen all the Godzilla movies. I'm catching up to all of them, but there is a Godzilla movie where Godzilla is evil. He's breaking everything. The people are saying, why is Godzilla breaking everything? He's supposed to be on our side. He's our savior. He's the one that fights all the monsters. Everybody's confused, what is going on? To the point where even other monsters who are allies of Godzilla are like, bro, what's wrong with you? And Godzilla's fighting them. Now, this is like a 1960 movie, 1970 movie, I think. And forgot the name of it, but the real Godzilla shows up. And the real Godzilla fights that Godzilla. And as they're fighting, and he's breaking the skin, it's Mecha Godzilla. Mecha Godzilla was wearing a costume the whole time. Now, in the trailer also, if you watch the trailer, there's a scene where there's one of the Asian guys. He's talking and saying something, and in the background of the computer, you see Mecha Godzilla. You see the diagram of him. So what people are saying is that this is a remake to that movie. They built a Mecha Godzilla, and they put skin on him to look like Godzilla.
Gotcha.
Something must have happened where that Godzilla went out of control. Now Kong is fighting him, and I think we're gonna see the real Godzilla pop out.
Yeah.
So this is what everybody's saying is happening in this film right now. So
yeah, but it's all speculation, Steve. We know that. Like, I mean,
yeah, I know. It's all.
I could
Who
say.
knows?
I could say, it's not gonna be like a Scooby Doo movie. They're not gonna pull off Godzilla's head and it's gonna be like, what? It's Mecha Godzilla. What? It's King Ghidorah. What? It's Mothra. You know what I mean? Like, there's I don't know. It's all speculation. I mean, I like the enthusiast because I didn't notice that in the trailer, and I saw the picture, and you can kind of see something that resembles a Mecha Godzilla head or something like that. But like it's like I love people that try to break down the trailers and find those little hints of something, But at the same time, I want to be surprised. You know what I mean? Like if there's a character that's not in it. Perfect example. He was never on any of the posters. It's kind of I don't know. Me and my wife enjoyed the hell out of the movie. And of course, I just had a blank. I'm thinking in my head.
No.
Oh wow! That's how I know I'm getting old. Okay, I got it. It came back. Tropic Thunder, right?
Yes.
I did not know that Tom Cruise was in that movie, right? His character in Tropic Thunder was such a great comedic relief and just something that you just didn't expect from Tom Cruise at that time. I don't think he's ever played any sort of character like that before. I don't think he ever will again. But that character in that movie, Rex Grossman, is phenomenal, right? And I just remember sitting in the theaters and watching this movie and just laughing my ass off because you just don't expect it. And we both turned to ourselves with is that Tom Cruise? Is Tom Cruise in this movie? Things like that. So going back to the Godzilla thing, I hope Mecha Godzilla's in it. That would be really cool if it is. But I want to be surprised, No,
same here. Yeah, man, and you know what's funny, man? After watching the 1933 Kong film and watching, Kong Skull Island, and now watching this, and now getting into Godzilla, I'm really getting into the Toho series and all that. I'm gonna start collecting Kong figures and more Godzilla figures now.
There's a Neca Kong figure that just came out.
Oh, then I'm getting that. I fell in love with the 33 film, and I'm falling more in love with Kong as the character. And I'm falling more in love with Godzilla as the character, and that's why I'm on HBO Max watching him. And I'm like, you gotta appreciate that. You gotta appreciate the fact that these movies, in Japan, even though we know it's a guy in a suit, even though it's miniature buildings, it's just the way it was done, the way it was created. Even watching the 33 film where it's all stop motion, it puts a smile on your face, somebody put effort into that, and then you actually do get lost in the film. This actually plays out pretty well, man. It goes pretty good, man. So
yeah,
but yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to Kong versus Godzilla. And did you hear the other little spoiler that people are saying where Godzilla's actually at?
No.
I guess people are saying that Godzilla actually took a trip to Hawaii. He's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla's in a hammock in Hawaii, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, can I get another Corona, please?"
See, I don't know. I know a lot of people hated the movie because of the premise of it, Godzilla being a mother and whatever. I love the 2000 Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. I don't know. There was just something about that. That was the first Godzilla movie that I watched when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I wasn't introduced to the Japanese ones, or I would say I remember this because I used to go over to my buddy Greg's house and we would have tournaments with this game, and it was like Smash Brothers, but worse. We played Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. We played it on the GameCube. I think it came out on all the other ones. that was such a fun game to play, like 4 people. Like, and you could pick like Mecha Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra. Like, you could pick all the characters, and it was like just kind of like Rampage style, like beat 'em up, Smash Brothers type thing. And like that really was probably my first like introduction to like the old school characters, and but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, it's piqued my interest. I think the graphics look good. I think the CGI looks amazing. I guess the last thing, and then we'll kind of move on, is I guess Kong in this one, I saw somebody show like a side by side of kind of like the scale. I guess Kong is much bigger in this one versus like the last Kong in Skull Island movie.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of Loki's character. I'm drawing a blank. The actual guy that plays him.
Yeah, my mind is going blank right now as well. Yeah, Loki.
Tom Hiddleston. Good old Google. So they had a picture of him because he was in the Kong from Skull Island movie.
Yeah.
I guess he's standing and like looking at Kong, and I guess from like the mouth to the nose or whatever, like he's about as tall as Kong's mouth in that shot.
Oh wow, okay.
But they're saying now like the scale is like Kong is like 4 times that size. So that was the only kind of thing that I saw prior to the trailer about this movie, about like Kong's size is much bigger in this movie compared to the previous ones.
Oh wow. I'm gonna have to search that, man. So that's a pretty big Kong, man. Like that's wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I didn't even hear that, Aaron, but I'm definitely gonna like search that up, man. But yeah, I'm excited for the movie. You're excited for the film. I'm definitely gonna get figures, man, and I just can't wait, man.
You want to talk about expensive? Freaking old school, like Godzilla, King Kongs, all that stuff, man. Like, especially the Godzillas, because Godzilla's been around for God knows, 30, 40 years, right?
Yeah.
In the 70s in Japan. I mean, those old, like, Mothra, Ghidorah, those old figures, those things are pricey.
No, they are. Actually, 2 years ago at the flea market, Dave had a 1980-something Godzilla. Found him, and I found an 80-something Mecha Godzilla. So I have him over here on my toy shelf.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm like, if I find them, for cheap, like I'll collect them, have a little shelf with them. But yeah, man, like I'm excited. Like I can't wait for this film. It's gonna be on HBO Max and on theaters on the same day. Whoever goes to the theaters, there might be 2 people in there. Who knows? Like I would love to see it in theaters, as well. But who knows what's going on? I like who knows? But speaking of more movies, let's talk about Sony and Ghostbusters Afterlife, because that's another movie that's been delayed so many times. So Ghostbusters Afterlife was supposed to come out March 5th, which was on my birthday.
You sound a little bitter.
Yes, because like I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, and I've been waiting 35 freaking years for this, for an actual sequel, and it was gonna be on my birthday. Then it got pushed back to this summer. Then now recently they pushed it back to November. Now, here's the thing. Sony is really banking on pushing all their films to theaters, whereas HBO Max, they actually been making money because they're like, hey, you know what? We're sitting on all these movies. Yeah. We own the properties. It's Warner Brothers. Okay, they came out with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman went on HBO Max. Today, the new Denzel Washington movie, The Littlest Things, it came out in theaters today and on HBO Max. I will be watching that. Godzilla, it's going to come out on HBO Max in theaters. Mortal Kombat in April, HBO Max in theaters. Yeah. You get to watch these movies for free. You're paying for the service. Now, Sony is really banking on this COVID thing to be over and done with by 2022. So they pushed Ghostbusters Afterlife to November. But here's the problem, though, and this is what I see. Online right now, there are people saying that, if you work in the healthcare industry, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be a podcast about pop culture and everything. I'm not going to get too deep into this COVID thing, but, if you work in the healthcare industry, healthcare workers and frontline workers are getting the vaccine first. Some people are not getting this vaccine till August, September. So if you're gonna have Ghostbusters Afterlife come out in November, there still might not be some people still vaccinated by then.
Well, not only that, I mean, and I know you said like we don't want to dive deeply into this because it's it's a toy and pop culture podcast, but COVID has affected this way of life for the past year and then some. So I feel like it's kind of ingrained in kind of the culture right now because you're trying to figure out, is it safe to go to the movie theater? Is it, so like, I mean, that's my big thing. Like, even if I'm vaccinated, like, do I still want to put myself in that position to like go see a movie like next year? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a personal preference, but like, I think putting all your eggs in one basket of like the movies are going to reopen up. You see like Reddit's going nuts right now with people buying the GameStop stock and, buying AMC stock, and they're, taking on these hedge funds and whatever. Again, I'm not getting into any of that, but like, I think movie theaters are still going to be around, but I think it's just going to be like going to the gym. It's going to be a different experience. You're going to have kind of like maybe like parties, like it's not going to be a packed theater, at least for the next like 2 years. I don't know. That's my take on it, is that like they'll probably sell 50% capacity of the theaters, and then spread everybody out, but like, I don't know. I mean, you're banking on this, Sony's banking on the theaters being open in November, but at the same time, like, okay, the theaters are open now, like people aren't going to the theaters,
Right.
So
right.
like, so that's the difference, is that like you're hoping that people feel comfortable enough to go to the theaters in November. That's what but I don't know. Because it's all personal preference. But if you did, like, we talked about this before, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but like the Scooby-Doo thing, like, okay, put it out for $15 or $20 or whatever it was at the time. And there was no HBO Max. There was no, you just had to, it was released on Comcast or, your TV service provider, and you could purchase it and watch it through that.
Yep.
Why can't they do that? Like that to me was the coolest experience during quarantine, was watching a movie that was supposed to be in theaters. I was happy. I was sitting in my home. I clicked the button and I paid $20 and boom, we watched it as a family and it was a lot of fun. You're still getting revenue. Like how much would 3 people be going to pay to get just tickets? Like tickets for movies, like we can go to Chunky's right now and tickets for movies are like $7. So 7 times 3 is 21. So like charge $21 to buy the movie on a streaming service. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Well, I know we've talked about this before.
Aaron, I am definitely on your side when it comes to that, because like, this is what I'm thinking to myself, like, as now, obviously we don't run Sony, we're not the president or the CEO of Sony, but like there's gonna come a point where they're gonna have to release these films sooner or later, because here's the thing, and not to get into a whole business about filmmaking, but like, once the movie is done, you're paying for marketing, you're paying for ads, you're paying for the people who are traveling to market this thing. There's a lot of overhead costs once a movie is made. So Sony's gonna have to make their money sooner or later out of this. Right. So it's like, are you gonna sit on this property for another year, or are you gonna release it and stream it? And I get it, like Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman, he wants this to be shown in theaters, and you know what? I want to watch this in theaters. Like I'm a big, as a Ghostbuster fan, I want to see it in the theater. But you know, like it's been almost 2 years now. And the funny thing about it, Aaron, as toy collectors, it's been almost a year, going into 2 years almost of Ghostbusters Afterlife merchandise. We've had the Kenner Real Ghostbusters re-released last year. We had the Hasbro Plasma series re-released. We've had the Egon Spangled and Trenowan like released. Now, recently, and I don't know if you've seen it at Target, it's the Ecto 1 from the Afterlife. Like, that's released. The Ghost Popper, it's like a little gun, vintage, that's re-released. You know, so, like, the movie's not even out yet, and we're into the second year of still, like, marketing and ads, and the movie's not even out yet. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
I think I actually saw, before this happened, a Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer in movie theaters. Like, I remember sitting down and I was freaking the hell out because it was the trailer of, like, you know, the Ecto 1 in the garage, or in the log cabin, or whatever it was, the barn, and then you know, it had the kid from Stranger Things in it, and I was like, I remember freaking out. I was like, oh shit. And it said, like, coming 2021 or whatever, you know, or 2020 or whatever it was at the time. And like, yeah, now that I think about that, like, that was probably a year and a half ago, because it was a teaser trailer. It wasn't, you know, wasn't anything special. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I went to go see a movie and that one aired in the movie theater, you know. And here we are 2 years later, still talking about this damn movie that, like, you know, should be released in 2 months, but, you know, they keep on pushing it back because they're betting that everybody will be, yeah, I feel safe, I'm gonna go to the movie theater.
Ghostbusters Afterlife has been pushed to 2034.
You can watch it in the afterlife when you're dead.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god! But also, like, we got the Ghostbuster re-release of the cereal. Did you see that, Aaron? They're re-releasing the Ghostbuster cereal.
Man, you know what? I really hope they bring back the Ecto Cooler, because that would. I know they brought it back. What was it? Oh yeah, I know they brought it. They brought it back, but it was in cans or something.
Yeah, in 2016 for Answer the Call. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want them to bring it back in, like, the high C juice pouches, you know, like, that would
be awesome.
Oh man,
that would be awesome.
I drank so much of those as a kid.
See, but you know what's messed up though? When they re-released it in 2016, because in the 80s they passed that law for us when we were kids, that you couldn't market things for kids. And remember, in the 80s they had Slimer. For the Ecto Cooler on the high C.
Yeah.
But when they re-released it in 2016, they couldn't put Slimer on it. So I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot that children's broadcasting law thing, you know, like, and I'm like, oh, but I'm hoping that, like, if they do re-release it, we get a Slimer or something like that thing, man.
It's fun. Like, I think it has to. It can't, like, if it's a sugary drink or something, it can't have, like, a mascot on it or something. I can't remember what it is, but, like, if you go buy, like, cheese sticks, like, I get cheese sticks for my son, you know, and they got Paw Patrol cheese sticks, or they got Frozen cheese sticks, or they got Ninja Turtles cheese sticks, and, you know, it's always like, okay, bud, which one do you want? You know, and he's like, oh man, I want the Ninja Turtle one, or, you know, whatever. But it's like, you know, so they can market it for kids if it's a healthy food, like yogurts and cheeses, but they can't market it for kids if it's, like, unhealthy, you know?
Yeah, because, I know,
like, you say that, and, like, I remember getting cereals as a kid, and the cereals that I ate as a kid were probably super bad for you, you know, but it was like, whatever it was at the time, it was, you know, Mario cereal, or, you know, Cookie Crisp. I remember Cookie Crisp cereal. That was the bomb.
Oh,
you know,
so good. I remember that.
And, you know, but, like, there was all the, whatever movie came out, there was Batman cereal, or there was, you know, Bill and Ted, or I remember there was a Urkel cereal. You know, I mean, like, whatever there was, it was like, I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited. I think that, you know, this year in movies should be good. I'm excited for that Mortal Kombat movie. I watched that trailer the other day.
Oh, man, Aaron. Okay. Did you see the small little teaser video? It's maybe 2 seconds
Oh, I saw the trailer that was 2 minutes.
Okay, so wait, there's a trailer out right now?
Yeah.
That's 2 minutes long?
Yeah.
Okay, I
It
did
says
not.
teaser
Oh,
trailer, but like, yeah, it's got a bunch of little hints in it, and I was like, oh, one of the things, if you hadn't seen it, I mean, it's in the trailer. If you just YouTube it, it's like 2 minutes long. It was like, I guess if one realm wins 10 tournaments, they can combine with another realm and basically control everything. And I'm guessing that's what the purpose of this is, that somebody's going to be, win their 10th one realm is close to
right.
winning their 10th Mortal Kombat tournament. So like I was like, okay, I saw a couple familiar faces. I didn't see any of like the big guys that I didn't see Scorpion or like Sub-Zero or like any of those in the trailer. You kind of see like a silhouette of somebody you believe is like Shang Tsung. You see Kano, you see Baraka, which I thought was cool because he had like his little scythes.
Nice, nice.
You see some of them. You see somebody that you think is Liu Kang, but it looks like an older Liu Kang. It doesn't look like a young Liu Kang. They don't say any names. They don't say anything. But like, I was like, okay, but I'm excited just because like, if you listen to the first like 10 seconds of the trailer, it's that familiar and it's like it just brought me back to that soundtrack and that first Mortal Kombat movie we had in like the 90s.
Did you go to theaters to watch that movie?
Yeah.
I went to the actual theaters, and I remember my mom dropping me off with my older brother, right? And I think the movie came out, what, 95, 96?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
96. And I remember like sitting in the theaters, watching trailers. I'm sitting next to my older brother. You see the New Line Cinema logo, right? That classic New Line Cinema film logo pop to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about, this theater was packed of kids that love Mortal Kombat. Then you hear Mortal Kombat. I swear to God, everybody lost their shit in that theater. I was going crazy because the opening is the logo of the dragon on fire, and like you're just like, what the hell is going on? I'm freaking out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would never forget that, man. Like that Mortal Kombat, to me, is the best video game adaptation film to date right now. Is that first Mortal Kombat movie?
Yeah.
Aaron, speaking of that teaser trailer, so like, they released, I just saw on this film channel, they showed Sub-Zero in the middle of the street, like grabbing like raindrops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were explaining the plot. So I guess like there's Kano, Liu Kang, Sonya, but there's a new character that he's not in the video games. He's an MMA fighter, and I guess the plot of the whole film is that MMA fighter, he's the audience's eyes to Mortal Kombat. So we get to see everything through him. So he's kind of like our eyes. He's the one that explains everything, who's seeing everything. This guy has never been in the video games. And then what ends up happening is that I guess he has some sort of sign or logo or something on his skin, or he's related to somebody. So Shang Tsung, because in that teaser trailer, Sub-Zero is in our reality. You see normal cars on the streets, and I'm like, hey, what's this? But I guess he's going after that kid. Shang Tsung sends Sub-Zero to go after that kid into our reality. Now this kid has to go into the Mortal Kombat tournament. So like, I'm really interested to see like how this is all gonna pan out, because a lot of fans are like, wait a minute, this kid has never been a character in Mortal Kombat. So like, why are we having somebody that's never been in the tournament? Because like, I thought it was gonna be Kano, Liu Kang, Sonya, and Johnny Cage. Yeah. Because originally in the video game, Jean-Claude Van Damme is Johnny Cage. Because when they first made the Mortal Kombat game, Ed Boon and John Tobias, they went up to Jean-Claude Van Damme and told him, hey, we want to make a video game out of you. And it wasn't even called Mortal Kombat. And Jean-Claude Van Damme was going to be the main source, but I guess he didn't want it made or something with legal issues, whatever. So That's why Johnny Cage is a movie star, and B, does the splits.
Yeah.
Because that was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
If I remember something, I remember hearing something about that. I think it was legal issues that they couldn't use his likeness because of Bloodsport. I think because
Yes.
Bloodsport kind of sparked. I mean, because if you were a young kid, and you watch Bloodsport, I can see how that movie influenced, because Johnny Cage is almost wearing the same exact thing as Jean-Claude Van Damme is in the
Correct.
movie Bloodsport.
Yeah.
So
correct.
it's if you took a side by side, it's that same black and red
Yep.
pants, shirtless. And so I think it was something with the likeness, because there was something else that I read recently that I was telling you the GI Joe figure that they wanted to make a Rocky Balboa into a GI Joe figure, and they couldn't because Stallone's likeness was owned by another toy company. I think I mentioned that on the last podcast, or maybe the one before that. And it's funny how these companies take over your likenesses, and it's like, really, so that was probably the issue. That's probably why they gave Johnny Cage sunglasses, so that they could kind of conceal that it's not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I remember you mentioning the GI Joe thing with Rocky Balboa before, man.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't know that about Mortal Kombat, where like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was the inspiration in Bloodsport
Yeah.
to this video game. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait, man. And I'm hoping that we get to see like Reptile or a lot of those cool
Man,
characters.
because that was the little Scorpion in that first one, where he freaking he puts his hand up, and that little arrowhead comes out and is like,
Oh.
get over here.
Oh, that was amazing, man. Like that first Mortal Kombat movie was amazing. The second one, oh my God, was it garbage. Oh, the CGI when Liu Kang turns into the dragon, he tries to do the animality Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
I'm like, that movie was so horrible, man. I'd
Was
rather
that
watch
little,
Paint Dry than watch
creature?
Mortal Kombat.
That little creature was in it that kept on scurrying around the outworld, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that movie. Yeah, because the Mortal Kombat Annihilation film was, I think, because of the success of the first one,
Yeah.
the studio was like, look, we got to get one out right now. And that kind of reminds me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The first one came out in 1990. The second one came out in 1991. It was like right back to the like literally a year in between.
Yeah.
Studios were like, hey man, we got a money maker. Let's get one out right now. But the CGI isn't done. Who cares?
Right.
The script isn't even done. Who cares? That's the mentality. Who cares?
Yeah, I think the biggest miscast for the second one was Raiden. With the guy, he was in Highlander or something. He played Raiden.
Christopher Lambert playing Raiden.
But he didn't even have his hat. It was just kind of like this, I lost my powers, or my powers can't help you here, or whatever. I was like, what the hell, But yeah, I'm having flashbacks now of that second movie, and I was like, all right, yeah. But the first one, the 1995 release, was definitely the bomb. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I bet you they couldn't use Van Damme because of Street Fighter.
Oh, that's another thing too. That's a good, because Van Damme, he was in the Street Fighter movie, man.
Right.
Which, by the way, man, that movie wasn't good, but watching it now, it's just for nostalgic reasons. But Ralph Julia, rest in peace. That the only reason why he did that film was because I guess his daughter or son was like, Daddy, that Street Fighter, you got to do this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was ill with cancer at the time, but Ralph Julia, he gave a phenomenal performance as M. Bison. That last scene when he's fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, he gives this whole repertoire theater speech before he's fighting him, and you can tell that he was really into this M. Bison character. And going back and watching that movie and just watching Ralph Julia, you can tell hey, I'm doing this for my kids,
right?
And I think that was the last film he did, because he died.
I think it was.
Yeah, he died right after that, man. Like,
Yeah,
so yeah, man, like, but yeah, that's definitely true
that's
about Jean-Claude Van
probably
Damme.
that's probably why they couldn't use Van Damme's likeness in the video game because he was already signed on with kind of their big rival at the time, which was Street Fighter, and Street Fighter wasn't about the blood and gore. There was no blood in Street Fighter. So I remember as a kid, like my mom wouldn't let me play Mortal Kombat because there was blood in it, you know. And then the Super Nintendo version came out that it wasn't red blood, it was green blood because Nintendo like is a family friendly name, so they put green blood in the game so that it's like fake blood instead of the Genesis counterpart, which left the red blood in.
It's funny that you say that. I just watched this documentary yesterday called Console Wars,
Uh-huh.
and it's about Sega Genesis versus Nintendo, and you can watch it on Amazon Prime. It's up there, or you can download it. But so anyways, like in the documentary, they talk about that when Mortal Kombat came out, Sega Genesis was like, look, Nintendo is this family-oriented company. Like, we're gonna keep the blood. Let's keep the blood, right? So Nintendo's like, because when Mortal Kombat came out, like, parents were like, oh, this is too bloody, whatever. Like Nintendo was like, you know what? We're gonna make the blood green, and I
Yeah.
bet you that all these parents are gonna buy our game. It was the
Mm-hmm.
complete opposite. So more sales were on Sega Genesis because they had the blood,
Right.
and I guess in the documentary, one of the marketing guys said that Nintendo was getting letters from family members and parents, not because the game was violent, but because the blood was green. So
Yeah.
like they were like, wait a minute, we made the blood green to make you guys happy. Now you're saying that you want blood in this game?
Well,
Like,
because you got to put yourself in the shoes of a 1990s family. Most families either chose Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
right,
A lot of families couldn't afford to have both.
correct.
So if I went over to my buddy's house and played it on Sega and said, "Oh man, I got to get this on Nintendo," like it wasn't advertised anywhere that it was green blood.
Right.
The package art looked the same, everything
Yep.
looked the same. So like you go home, you get your $50, you go to Toys R Us, you get one of those little cards out, you take it up to the front in their little Fort Knox. Man, I miss those days, dude.
I missed that too, man.
You take out the little card and you go to their little Fort Knox, and then you give them the card, and then they give you the game because you have to pay for it up front because they didn't have the games in the shelves back then, and then you get home and you put it in and you start playing it and you realize it's got green blood instead of red blood. I'd be pissed. I'd be like,
It's Ecto Cooler.
it's yeah, you're hitting freaking ecto cooler out of everybody, and it's like, okay, then in those days you can't return it because you opened it, right? Just like you can now, and then you're like, well, what the hell? So yeah, I would write to Nintendo too and be like, hey, give me my money back.
Yeah, man. Like, oh man, you just brought up so many good times, man. And yeah, the Sega Genesis had the blood code, and you had to do it like when you saw Goro in the beginning intro thing. I think it was like ABA or something like that, man. And then like you hear like, get over here, and you got like the blood code, man. But oh man, so many good memories with Mortal Kombat, man. Like, I can't wait for this film. I'm excited, Aaron. I know you can't wait for it, man. And like,
Well,
you just can't.
There's so many nostalgia with the original, like with the 1995 film, and we've kind of touched base on this, and I know maybe one of these days we'll do it. I mean, but WMAC Masters
Woo.
was like that show that I guess that was the first kind of video game, besides like the Mario Brothers Super Show, that was kind of the first like video game fighting show that was like released,
Yep.
and a lot of those actors from WMAC Masters ended up playing characters in the Mortal Kombat film,
Yes.
like Hakeem Alston and Chris Casamassa and, a couple others, so like for those to like, kind of go over, they played kind of video game characters in, this TV show. And then like these producers were like, well, these guys are real martial artists. We should get some real martial artists here along with the kind of the actors to do these moves. And I think that's what made that original Mortal Kombat movie so special.
It's funny that like I don't know too many people that know that, Aaron, and you bringing that up because I used to watch WMAC Masters on Fox. It was on Fox, and Bruce Lee's daughter was the host.
Mm-hmm.
And I was big into martial arts. I mean, like, I ended up doing Taekwondo like for years, and it's like I love martial arts so much as a kid. And I remember when that show came out, I'm like, oh, this is a martial arts show. Bruce Lee's daughter's the host. And then seeing Chris Casamassa, Hakeem the Machine, and then it's true, like, I go to the theaters and I'm watching Mortal Kombat, that movie, and there's Hakeem the Machine, and he's fighting in. Yeah. I'm like, hey, that's Hakeem the Machine from WMAC Masters.
Yeah.
And then, like, when I found out that Chris Casamassa played Scorpion, I'm like, oh my God, Chris Casamassa played Scorpion?
Yeah.
Like, all these guys from WMAC Masters were in this film, and it was, like, awesome, man. And, like, a lot of people don't remember WMAC Masters, man.
That I think that was kind of like when you and I first met and we started talking, and I mentioned that, I said, well, there's just one show that, like, I'm big into, but, like, you probably never heard of it. And I said WMAC Masters, and you were like, what? Chris Casamassa? Like, you like, do you know who the host was? And I was like, yeah, it was Bruce Lee's daughter. You're like, oh my God. Okay, we got to hook up. We got to talk. Like, I think that's what kind of started, bridge that gap, between you and I. And, like, I collected all the toys, and I got the play set and stuff like that. And, but that show brings back such memories of, like, the power meters on the side of the screens.
Yes.
And, like, that was, like, I don't know, it was kind of ahead of its time. It didn't do well, obviously. Like, the kind of martial arts thing was big in the mid 90s and then kind of, like, faded off, because I remember when, like, the Mortal Kombat was made, like, everybody was taking karate. It was kind of like, that was the cool thing, was like everybody's doing karate, And so I told you this a couple, probably at this point 6 months ago. I was looking on the forums and I posted, hey, if anybody's got any WMAC Masters stuff, message me. I sent you pictures. That guy in, like, Oklahoma or something messaged me, and he ended up selling me like 10 autographs from WMAC Masters. Oh, wow. And the more I talked to him, he said, he worked at a dojo. He was really close with, I guess the main, I don't know his name, but the actor that played Shang Tsung in the original Mortal Kombat movie was his, like, sensei. Wow. And so, like, he would have all these guys from the show and, like, the movie come to his dojo. It was, like, the dojo to be in. And, like, Chris Casamassa was constantly there. Hakeem was there. All the guys, would come in. And he showed me some of his autograph collection. And I was just blown away. I said, how did you get these? Because, like, to find figures from WMAC Masters right now is really hard. But to have, like, memorabilia and autographs from that show is damn near impossible to find. It was filmed at Universal Studios, excuse me, but, like, it's still, like, kind of one of those niche shows that, like, not a lot of people, like, there wasn't a lot of merchandise for it. So when he sent me kind of the photo cards, and it's a WMAC Master, and it had, like, Cyclone and all this stuff, I was
Cyclone.
I was blown away. Or Tsunami,
Yeah, Tsunami, yes.
So I got lucky enough to purchase some of his collection, and he's like, oh, I'll just throw in a signed photo of the actor that played Shang Tsung. And I was like, what? Like, you're just going to throw this in? He's like, yeah, I got like 200 because he was my, like, sensei. And I was like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. Like, dude was super nice. He could tell, like, I was an avid fan of the show. So, like, he knew it was going to a good home, but, like, he's like, yeah, he goes, I got tons of stuff.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, that was a great show. One thing I remember about that show was that song would have to reach for the dragon star, reach for the dragon star. They had to get the dragon star all the time. It was always the dragon star. Yeah, that was, like, the main thing they had to get. Like, the final fight was for the dragon star, and how many dragon stars you can get, man. Like, I remember that.
You had to defeat each person you defeated. Right. You got their key. So you get a key, KI. And so it was like this little hexagonal thing, and you would attach it to your dragon belt, and then once you amassed like all of the keys, then you could, get the Dragon Star. And that was like kind of like the last shot of like the intro was like somebody holding up the Dragon Star.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna have to find some VHS.
There's only three.
Really? There's only three VHS?
There's a blue cover, a red cover, and a purple cover.
Oh man, those things must be going for like $400, $500.
No, you could get them under $20.
Oh, okay, that's not that too bad, man. Oh my God, man, we just went down another rabbit hole.
I know.
WMAC Masters, man. Oh my God, man, that's awesome though. And for those listening, if you have not seen WMAC Masters, I think you can go on YouTube and just type it in and see a couple matches and stuff. But check it out. Me and Aaron, we give the stamp of approval, and we're excited to watch Mortal Kombat. And we're gonna get to our final thing right now, and this is our top 5. And since we started with giant monsters and talking about all these things, we're gonna do our top 5 monsters or characters that we would like Godzilla to go against with. So we're gonna end with this top 5. And Aaron, you want me to go first, or do you want to say your number 5 first?
I'll go first.
All right.
So this one, it kind of came to fruition in a movie a couple of years ago. It was Ready Player One. Yeah. I don't know if you watched that.
Good movie.
So so in the book, it's different from the movie. And the movie, it had the Iron Giant fighting the Mechagodzilla, because that was kind of
that's right. Yeah.
So in the book, it was supposed to be the big like Voltron, like I forgot, but it was like Ultraman. In the book, it was Ultraman. But when you first sent me the top 5 things to fight Godzilla, I was like, I would love to see the Iron Giant and actually Godzilla go at it,
That would be awesome. You know what's funny? I didn't even think of that one. Iron Giant versus Godzilla. Yeah. Oh, that would be sweet, actually. Oh, that would be awesome, man. That's a good epic battle, man.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good because he's got he got the red eyes. He gets angry, and then Godzilla's got the blast. But I don't, I think that would be cool. Just the whole concept of kind of like this, machine versus humanoid machine versus Godzilla.
That's a good one, man. I didn't think about. Wow, that's a good one. I like that one. So for my number 5, I went with something pretty simple, but the Megazord from Power Rangers. Now listen, even though the Rangers have fought lizard type creatures already, but I think it'll be cool just to watch Tommy be like, all right, that's it. We need Dragon Zord right now, and I'm just like, yeah. I don't know. I think that it'll be a good matchup, for the Power Rangers. Like you said, Godzilla has the breath, and the Rangers have the swords. They have all that. Maybe the Rangers could win because they have so many. You got the Megazord, then the Megazord can transform to the White Tiger Zord, and then the White Tiger Zord combines with the Megazord, and then Titanus comes in. It just creates this giant freaking Megazord. But yeah, that's my number 5. My number 5 is the Power Rangers Megazord. So
I'm gonna have to pass because that was my number 4.
Really?
My number 4 was Megazord. Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Every time we do our top 5, we have
something in common.
Something in common, man.
Yeah, hey. I thought about the Megazord coming down, and how eventually first they start fighting with the fists. Oop, I hit my mic. I'm getting into this. First they start fighting with the fists, and then they'll call we need sword power now, and he reaches up and the sword comes flying down. I could just see him with that sword. But you brought up something. I was just thinking the original Megazord. But if you combined with a Dragon Zord and Titanus to make Ultra Zord, I think that'd be cool. Fire all your big ass lasers at Godzilla.
Whew, that would be an amazing battle with all that put together, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so we both had that. So for my number 4, I had the Mobile Suit Gundam RX-78-2, and it's that classic Gundam. The original classic Gundam, man. And I was thinking about it because in Japan, they have that animatronic Gundam, that's like moving already, like over there. And I'm just like, man, that would be so awesome to see that Gundam versus Godzilla, man. Like, I want to see that Gundam, the original classic Gundam versus Godzilla. So that's my number. That's nice. What I have my number 4.
I thought Gundams. I was gonna write down Gundam, but then I was like, nah, I got Iron Giant already. I already got Gundam one robot thing, and I got Power Rangers. But like I thought Gundam, and I was like, man, Gundam versus Godzilla would be awesome. Like I thought it when I was going through it. So my number 3 is it's smaller. I know it's smaller. I mean, it's still a big creature, but like it's much smaller than Godzilla. But I think the power that it has and the ferocity and kind of its like minions was like I think the Alien Queen from the Alien movies.
Ooh, wow. But I didn't even think of that.
But picture like the Alien Queen with like a bunch of aliens, like, because they protect the queen, like versus Godzilla, and they could be like, cutting off their own, tails and like spraying the acidic, like blood on them, and they could kind of like I think of like the first thing that came to mind was like the T-Rex versus the Velociraptors.
Right.
And so like think about like Godzilla with just a bunch of like aliens like crawling on him, and the queen is like controlling. I don't know. That's my mind.
Oh, that's a good one, Aaron. I didn't even think of that. The Alien Queen, because that's a big queen.
Yeah.
I remember Ripley when she went against it, man. It was huge, man. Like
and I think in the Predators movie, you kind of got a bigger scale when they're fighting it in the ice. I forgot who the main heroine is in it, but she's helping the Predator fight the Queen. I mean, it's huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's not nearly as big as Godzilla, but I think like her with like a bunch of aliens.
Yes.
Would definitely be some sort of formidable opponent.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Man, I didn't even think of that. That's a good one. All right, so for my number 3, this is not even going to be much of a battle because one breath of Godzilla would toast him. I have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Now, like in my living room, I have I bought it from Comic-Con in Boston. An artist did Marshmallow Man versus Godzilla, and it's hanging on my wall, and it's pretty cool. Now, again, he's made out of marshmallows. Godzilla's just going to have a little treat and just blow him away. But still, just to see the Marshmallow Man versus Godzilla, I think that would be pretty cool, man. So that's my number 3.
I thought the same thing. It's funny how we're always on the same wavelength. I was like, oh, Stay Puft, but I was like, one breath and he's done, right? Because the freaking Ghostbusters blew him up with their proton packs. But like, I was like, like I don't know. But I thought the visual was cool.
Yeah.
So my number 2, I think they could take it. They took down Thanos, so I think they might be able to take down Godzilla. Is the Avengers, like,
ooh,
like like
that's
Iron Man, Thor, but you could even bring in like the whole like Doctor Strange, like at the end of Endgame, and just be like the whole freaking Marvel universe versus Godzilla. But I kind of narrowed it down to like the Avengers,
Oh, that's awesome! Just to see like Captain America and Iron Man, can you imagine just Spider-Man swinging and just like throwing webs into Godzilla's eyes? Like, oh, that would be so freaking awesome! Oh my god! Hey, Sony, Marvel, are you listening to this? Can you make that happen for us right now, please?
Like maybe, I don't know, maybe Captain America's shield could deflect like Godzilla's breath, and they could be behind him, and then Iron Man comes up with all of his sentries, and and then I thought of like maybe like Hulk, like freaking, because he beat that big Chitauri freaking thing, but him like beating the hell out of Godzilla.
Oh, that would be awesome! Oh, I'm just picturing that like. I'm like a little kid right now, just picturing all the heroes versus Godzilla right now. That's a good one. Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good one, man. So for my number 2, all right, and I'm a fan of this robot. You already know this, Aaron. Is I have Voltron. All right. Yeah. So I just want to see Voltron versus Godzilla, and as they're getting whooped by Godzilla, at the end they're just like, blazing sword, and that sword just comes out and just like slices Godzilla. Oh, that would be epic. Oh, just to see Voltron versus Godzilla, man. Oh, that would be so sweet, man.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's what I have for my number 2. But here we go with our number 1. I'm so curious. I'm so curious right now to hear. I love doing these top five.
Yeah.
Because like I love hearing what your number one is, man. So I can't wait to hear this.
I think this would be a good battle just because of like there's a major size difference, but just because of who he is and what kind of like he's capable of, I think that he might stand a chance. And it's just one guy, but it's the guy. It's Superman.
Ooh, the most powerfulest human being superhero.
I think Superman versus Godzilla would definitely be interesting just because Superman's got the laser eyes, he's got the frostbite, he's got super strength, he's got super speed, he's got all this stuff, but Godzilla is just this massive creature, and like how would they toe to toe, how would they hold up?
Oh, that would be crazy. Superman can just grab his tail, whip him around a couple times, and just throw him into outer space. So,
Could he? I don't know.
I mean, unless
Godzilla's massive.
unless Godzilla's hiding a little bit of kryptonite in his inside pocket. But
Who knows, right? Maybe Godzilla's got a kryptonite breath that we don't know about.
Ooh, I know. Oh man. Why don't they just do a crossover comic of that? Superman versus Godzilla. I'm pretty sure they can do that.
Oh,
Man.
yeah, it's pretty easy. But yeah, so that was, I don't know, that one to me I thought would be the most interesting, would be the Superman. But I think any of them, I think if any comic books or film directors are listening, that here's some ideas. Just give us a little portion of the proceeds.
I know, right? Seriously. Okay, so my number one. It's just cute. And I don't even think Godzilla will fight him. I think they'll just take him as his son. I want to see Godzilla versus Reptar.
I like that.
I was thinking about Rugrats and, Reptar is like their Godzilla. And he's always like, Halt, I am Reptar. Halt, I am Reptar. And like, I think if Godzilla were to see Reptar, he'd be like, hey, hold my hand. Come on, let's go to the park. Let me push you on these little swings right here, man.
Well,
I think
so if you remember that episode, right, where they get locked in the toy store, Rugrats.
Yes.
Reptar fights King Kong.
Oh, that's right.
They activate, they both activate, because
right.
Chucky or somebody activates the gorilla, and Tommy's like, come on, Reptar, you can do it. And he hits the button and he goes, Halt, I am Reptar. And they actually, so maybe
yes.
Rugrats, a Rugrats episode kind of sparked this idea, but I think Godzilla versus Kong has always kind of been in people's minds. But yeah, Rugrats did it, in the 90s.
Oh man, that's a good. You know what? I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that episode. That's classic right there. I love anything Reptar. I actually have a little Reptar toy on my shelf, man. But man, Aaron,
So
you know what?
So I have an honorable mention because I just thought of this one. And
yes, please.
And I couldn't put it in my top five, but like there was a 2009 movie. It was an animated movie, Monsters versus Aliens.
Yes, I remember that.
So Ginormica,
the girl that turns huge.
Yeah, the girl that turns huge. I think Ginormica versus Godzilla would be a fun honorable mention.
You know what's funny? It's funny that you say that because great minds think alike, and you and me are always thinking the same thing when it comes to these things. Because I had Ant-Man as my honorable mention because he can get big.
Right.
So I didn't put him on my list, but like he's my honorable mention. I was gonna put Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that we're thinking about like people that can turn big to fight Godzilla. So that's awesome, man. Oh man, Aaron. Like you know what? Like we talked about so many things on this episode, man. We talked about the Godzilla trailer. Ghostbusters Afterlife, we talked about Mortal Kombat, went into a huge rabbit hole about WMAC Masters, man. Toy pickups, man. Like, I'm really looking forward to this year, 2021. We have a lot of great things to look forward to. A lot of toys coming out this year. Yeah. A lot of toys coming out this year. We're getting hit with toys, movies, TV shows, pop culture all around us. We had the whole PS5 fiasco, but like there's a lot of things coming out, a lot of things to look forward to. I know we're still, in this pandemic world, but at least we have all these things to look forward to, even though we can't find them most of the time.
Sometimes.
But like the good thing about it is that when you have good friends that are finding things for you, like Aaron, you found some things for me. You're always looking out, and I'm looking out for you, trying to find you something. Sooner or later, I'll pop into something, But this is the world that we're living in, And remember, guys, like I know that sometimes it could be frustrating where you can't find a toy, or you can't watch this movie. But remember that as long as you're healthy, nothing beats your health. A toy is a toy, a show is a show, a movie's a movie. But let's all keep staying healthy, and keep collecting and stuff. So, what about you, Aaron? Anything you want to say before we come out of this show?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Everybody should just don't go out of your way to get a toy, and don't stress yourself out. I think because like I said, I was doing that. I think that was bad for my mental health for a little while, trying to find these stupid GI Joes, and I kind of told myself, I said, hey, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and especially in this time, family, friends, health, that's the most important thing, and just look out for one another, and we'll get through all this together, and hopefully, like you said, I hope that Sony's right. That Sony's betting the mill on November being the key date to this kind of being over and people getting back to normalcy. Hey, we've gone this far. It's almost been a full year since this has started. In March it'll be a year. I think we can go another 8 more months from now, 9 more months from now, and if that's the magic date, November, that everything's going to go back to normal, then hell, I will gladly sit down in a movie theater and watch Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Sony, you heard it from Aaron. You guys better be right. November better be the date that things get back to normal. So Sony, start working on those vaccines, not just on movies. Come on, let's get the ball rolling.
You got the money, buy some vaccines. Ship them to Boston, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire.
Oh man, but yeah, man. But with that, I just want to say thank you everybody for listening to the Cereal Box Price podcast. The podcast that serves you 3 scoops of pop culture. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. That's Cereal Box Price podcast. You guys can also listen to us at anchor.fm/Cereal Box Price podcast. Yeah, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we're also on Facebook at Cereal Box Price Podcast. And haven't really posted much on the Instagram page, but there will be a lot of postings coming up, a lot of toy pictures coming up. So follow us on Instagram at Cereal Box Price Podcast. And thank you everybody for listening. I want to thank my host always, Aaron Schmelzer. And we are out of here, and we'll see you on the next show.
See you.